Today we're going to show you how to install CTs on a partial home backup with an existing system for SOLAREDGE. Since this install is a partial home backup, site CTs must be installed upstream of all loads. This means that there will be no site CTs installed in the BUI. To start, we're going to be phasing off of the breaker that feeds the BUI. Grab one lead of your voltmeter and place it on the black wire or line 1 that is feeding the BUI. Grab your second lead and place that lead on the black wire or line 1 of the MSP. The voltmeter should be reading 0 volts. If it is reading 240 volts, then you are measuring the wrong feeder and need to put your lead on the other MSP feeder to get your 0 reading. Once you identify the L1 feeder, install your line 1 CT around that feeder with the source side facing the utility. Now that you have phased line 1, we're going to test line 2. Grab one lead of your voltmeter and place it on the red wire or line 2 that is feeding the BUI. Grab your second lead and place that lead on the red wire or line 2 of the MSP. The voltmeter should be reading 0 volts. Once you identify the L2 feeder, install your line 2 CT around that feeder with the source side facing the utility. Now that you have the CTs installed on the feeders, you need to connect them to the MODBUS. For partial home backup, you can install in one of two places. The first area you can install is in the inverter's MODBUS. The inverter MODBUS will be required if you are lengthening the CT wires at all. If you do install in the inverter MODBUS, you need to make sure to not program or add the MODBUS in the backup interface since it's not going to be used. The second area you can install is in the backup interface as long as you are not extending the length of the CTs. Now open the Set app and configure your settings for the CTs. Ensure that CTs are programmed to Production Plus Export Import if you are landing the site CTs in the inverter MODBUS. If you extended the length of the CT wires, be sure to add the total conduit length in the AC conduit length section. If you are using the white SolarEdge CTs, make sure you program CT amperage to 225. Since you are using the inverter MODBUS, you are not going to add or program the MODBUS in the BUI. If you are landing the site CTs in the BUI, you will need to program the MODBUS to Export Plus Import. You will also need to program the inverter MODBUS to inverter production. Be sure to program the correct CT amperage in the BUI MODBUS. If you're using the white SolarEdge CTs, they will be programmed to 225. Let's move on to the standalone MODBUS. Please note, if the existing system is upstream of the site CTs that you installed, you do not need a standalone MODBUS on the existing system. A good example of this would be the existing system as a supply side tap. In this example, the existing system interconnects downstream of the site CTs, so we need a standalone MODBUS. When installing a MODBUS with a backup interface on site, you need to make sure to change the device ID on the MODBUS or unplug the MODBUS that's in the backup interface that's not being used. If there is a MODBUS installed on the backup interface and it's not being used, we need to remove it and the standalone MODBUS will remain as device ID 2. If using PCS or if the backup interface is using its own MODBUS, then we should switch the device ID to device ID number 3. Now we're going to phase the CTs for the MODBUS. To do this, grab your voltmeter and set it to volts. Grab one lead of your voltmeter and place it on L1 or the black wire of the PV breaker. Grab your second lead and place that lead on L1 or the black wire of the existing system PV breaker. If the reading on your voltmeter is 0 volts, then you have identified where you need to install the line 1 CT. Now place your line 1 CT on the existing system L1 wire and make sure the source is facing the utility. Now that we have phased line 1, we're going to test line 2. Grab one lead of your voltmeter and place it on L2 or the red wire of the PV breaker. Grab your second lead and place that lead on L2 or the red wire of the existing system PV breaker. Again, you should get 0 volts on your voltmeter. Now place your line 2 CT on the existing system L2 wire and make sure you install the CT with the source facing the utility and the CT is fully closed. Make sure the line 1 twisted pair is in the line 1 port and the line 2 pair is in the line 2 port. Land the RS485 wire in the MODBUS in the GAB port. Make sure only one wire from the twisted pair is being used for communication. Also make sure that the wires landing in A and B are from the same twisted pair. The RS485 wire from the MODBUS to the inverter needs to be Cat5 wire and needs to land in the lead inverter. Make sure only one wire from the twisted pair is being used for communication. Also make sure that the wires landing in A and B are from the same twisted pair. There are two areas that you can land the RS485 wire for the standalone MODBUS. You can land it in the existing RS485 port of the lead inverter's MODBUS, or if there is no backup interface being used, you can add it to the 3 ports on the right side of the backup interface connector. Now we need to add the standalone MODBUS as a device in the SolarEdge Set app. To do this, open the Set app and connect to the inverter that's on site. Click on Site Communications, then click on RS485-1. Then click Add MODBUS Device, then Add Meter. And make sure the meter function is set to external production. Now click on Meter Protocol. Depending on which standalone MODBUS you have on site, you will either select SolarEdge or select Watt Node. If you have this MODBUS, you will select Watt Node, and if you have this MODBUS, you will select SolarEdge. Once programmed, go back and look at Device ID. Device ID should always be programmed as 2, unless there is a backup interface installed on site. In this case, if the MODBUS is not being used in the BUI, it should be removed, or if it is being used, then the device ID should be changed to 3 on the app and on the standalone MODBUS as well. Once the device ID is set, go back and click on CT rating. If using the square SolarEdge CTs, you should input 200 amps into the CT rating. If using the white slim SolarEdge CTs, you should program them to 225. Once all of the above has been completed, click on the View Status button at the top, which will show you the live readings of the existing system. The system should be showing external production, and it should be producing and showing a positive number. Please watch our Putting a System on Standby in the SolarEdge Set app and checking CT's video to make sure they are installed correctly. Please take note that when you test, you need to turn the existing system off, or it could cause the import-export reading to be wrong. You have now correctly installed CTs on a partial home backup with an existing system for SolarEdge.